If you're anything like me, you grew up in the 90s, were obsessed with Pokemon for about 3 or 4 years, grew up, got married, had a kid, turned 37, found your old Pokemon cards in your parents' basement, and now, like the siren song, you've been pulled back into some unfamiliar waters. If this describes you, you've got some catching up to do, and I'm here to help. I'm going to give you a high-level rundown of what you missed and where we're at today. I do want to take this opportunity to give a huge disclaimer. I'm only about 2 months back into this Pokemon hobby, so although I've learned a lot in those 2 months, there's an ocean of knowledge that I don't know. I'm still learning. But having said that, let's continue. Let's go ahead and start with something you're probably familiar with. Cards printed in the late 90s to early 2000s. Back then, the chase was simple. We all know it. It was the Charizard. If you were lucky enough to pull one and you're still holding on to it, congratulations, because you've probably 100x your initial investment. Other major chases include first edition shadowless cards, where it's missing the drop shadow around the artwork, the Neo Genesis Lugia, and shining cards from Neo Destiny. All these cards are super valuable today. The definition of value back then were first prints, low supply, and iconic Pokemon. There were no alt arts, there were no gold cards, there were no 1 in 500 chance pulls. It was just holofoil and nostalgia. Moving on to the EX era. This was from about 2003 to 2007. This is when the Pokemon Company took over printing from Wizards of the Coast. So if you hear people say WotC cards, they're referring to that first run of base set, Fossil Jungle, Team Rocket, Neo Genesis, Neo Destiny, all those first cards which were published by Wizard of the Coast, or WotC. Now in the EX era, the chase became Gold Star Pokemon cards. Gold Stars were extremely rare and they featured shiny Pokemon. These were low pull rate cards, high in demand, and today they're some of the most valuable cards out there. Next we have the Diamond and Pearl era that spanned from about 2007 to 2011. The chase cards here included level X cards, prime cards, and legend cards. However, compared to other eras, this period was less defined by monster chase cards and more by nostalgia for certain Pokemon. Moving on to the Black and White era from about 2011 to 2013. This is where modern chase culture begins. This is where full art cards were introduced. Now collectors weren't just chasing overly powered Pokemon cards. They're chasing art, they're chasing presentation. This is where texture was added to the card. Side note, if you find a full art card that has no texture on it and it's just kind of shiny across the whole card, looks a little dim, it's probably fake. But after texture was added to the card, suddenly the way a card looked mattered just as much as what Pokemon was on it. Next we have the XY era from about 2014 to 2016. What was this era's biggest chase? Full art Mega EX cards. During this era, secret rares became more dramatic. Gold cards became more refined. Collectors were no longer chasing nostalgia, they were chasing rarity tiers. Next, from 2017 to 2019, we have the Sun and Moon era. This era introduced GX cards, Rainbow Rares, and Team Up GX cards. Rainbow Rares became the chase variants. But something more important happened, kind of quietly. Cards with unique scenic art started gaining attention. Collectors started valuing art direction on these cards. From 2020 to 2023, we have the Sword and Shield era. And this is where everything exploded. Your new rarity types were V, VMAX, and V-Star. But the true kings of this era were the special art rares, including this card, which you might have heard of. It's called the Moonbryon. When you hear Moonbryon, this is the card people are talking about. These cards weren't just rare, they were cinematic. Meanwhile, influencer openings brought millions of eyes back to the hobby. Sealed product skyrocketed, grading became mainstream, chase culture became investment culture. Moving on to today's era, the Scarlet and Violet era. The chase focus shifted again. These chases are art-first cards, massive full scene artwork, character-driven moments, soft pastels, storytelling visuals. Today's most valuable cards are popular Pokemon with top rarity tier that have beautiful artwork. It's not necessarily rainbow, not necessarily gold. We are officially in the art era of Pokemon. So if you quit in 1999, the game didn't just continue, it evolved. The definition of chase card changed, rarity exploded, artwork became the center stage. And today, some of the most valuable cards aren't just rare, they're miniature pieces of art. And that's what makes modern collecting so interesting.